What do you do when the room gets quiet? What do you do when the supporters disappear? When the messages slow down? When the people who promise to stand with you step aside? Most people collapse in that moment, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they tied their strength to the presence of others. Today, we are confronting a powerful truth. There will be seasons in your life when you must walk alone. And if you don't understand how to stand alone, you will never be strong enough to lead many. This message is about discovering your inner foundation. It's about learning how to move forward when no one claps, how to build when no one sees, and how to believe when no one agrees. Because greatness is not proven in the crowd, it is proven in the quiet. Purpose is personal. It is not a committee decision, not a democratic vote, and not a popularity contest. Your assignment on this earth was not handed to a group for approval. It was entrusted to you. Too many people misunderstand this and spend their lives waiting for permission to become who they were already designed to be. They look left and right for validation before taking a step forward. They measure their calling by the applause of friends, the support of family, or the approval of society. But purpose does not require agreement. It requires obedience. The moment you tie your destiny to the presence of people, you weaken your ability to pursue it with courage. When you understand that purpose is personal, you stop blaming others for your stagnation. You stop saying, if they had supported me, I would have succeeded. You stop postponing your progress because someone walked away. The responsibility for fulfilling your assignment rests on you. Others may assist, encourage, or collaborate for a season, but they are not the source of your calling. They are companions, not the engine. If they leave, the engine must still run. If they disagree, the mission must still continue. You were not born to be carried by consensus. You were born to carry conviction. This is why many people feel disappointed when support fades. They assume their vision would be sustained by community rather than commitment. But true purpose demands inner resolve. It demands that you wake up and move forward even when the room is silent. It demands that you invest in your growth even when no one is watching. Purpose does not shrink. Because people withdraw, it remains constant. It waits for you to recognize that you are enough to begin. Isolation is preparation. What feels like abandonment is often alignment. There are seasons in life when the noise reduces, the circle shrinks, and the invitations decline. At first, it feels uncomfortable. You may interpret it as rejection. But isolation has a divine function. It refines focus. When too many voices surround you, it becomes difficult to hear direction clearly. Solitude removes distraction. It exposes your motives. It forces you to confront your weaknesses and strengthen your discipline. Nothing significant grows in constant exposure. The seed is planted in hidden soil before it breaks through the surface. The foundation of a skyscraper is built underground before the structure rises for all to see. Likewise, character is formed in private before influence is trusted in public. Isolation is not a punishment, it is a workshop. It is where resilience is forged and clarity is sharpened. In isolation, you discover whether you were driven by applause or by assignment. Without an audience, your motives become clear. Without external encouragement, your internal conviction is tested. This is where maturity develops. This is where emotional dependency is replaced with personal responsibility. You begin to understand that strength is not borrowed from others. It is cultivated within. Isolation also reveals capacity. When you stand alone, you realize how much you can actually handle. You learn to make decisions without constant reassurance. You learn to solve problems without immediate assistance. You learn to trust your preparation. And in that process, confidence grows, not the loud, arrogant kind, but the quiet assurance that comes from surviving your own doubts. Many people try to escape isolation too quickly. They rush back to noise because silence makes them uncomfortable. But growth requires stillness. Development requires space. If you avoid the season of isolation, you delay the season of manifestation. Preparation cannot be skipped. It must be embraced. Because the strength you build when no one is by your side becomes the stability that sustains you when many stand around you. Conviction over consensus means you are no longer addicted to agreement. Most people feel powerful when others support them, but they feel paralyzed when others question them. They measure the validity of their vision by the number of people who clap for it. But consensus is a fragile foundation. Opinions shift, crowds change, supporters fluctuate with trends and comfort. If you build your life on agreement, you will constantly adjust your direction to maintain approval. Conviction, however, is internal. It is rooted in clarity. It is the settled understanding that you know what you are called to do, even if no one else understands it yet. When you operate from conviction, criticism does not crush you and praise does not inflate you. You are steady because your confidence is not borrowed. It is developed. Consensus makes you dependent on people's moods. Conviction makes you anchored in purpose. There will be moments when your ideas seem too bold, too different, or too uncomfortable for others. That does not automatically make them wrong. Innovation has always disturbed the comfortable. Vision has always challenged the familiar. If you wait until everyone agrees, you will always be late. Conviction requires courage. It demands that you move forward while others hesitate. It demands that you remain focused while others doubt. It demands that you trust what you have discerned, even when you cannot yet prove it. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. Arrogance ignores wisdom. Conviction listens, evaluates, and then stands firm. There is a difference. A person driven by ego refuses counsel. A person driven by conviction receives counsel but does not surrender clarity. When no one stands with you, conviction becomes your companion. It keeps you steady in uncertainty. It reminds you of what you have seen in your heart. It pushes you to take action when the environment feels resistant. Consensus is comfortable, but conviction is powerful. Consensus makes you feel safe. Conviction makes you grow. If you depend on the crowd to confirm your calling, you will silence yourself the moment the crowd grows quiet. But if you depend on conviction, silence becomes irrelevant. You continue because you are persuaded, not because you are popular. Discipline sustains destiny. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation rises and falls with circumstances. It is strong when things are exciting and weak when things are difficult. Discipline does not ask how you feel. It asks what must be done. When no one is by your side, discipline becomes the structure that keeps your vision alive. It ensures progress in the absence of applause. It protects your future from the instability of your moods. Destiny is not fulfilled in bursts of inspiration. It is fulfilled through consistent action. Small, repeated efforts create massive results over time. Discipline wakes you up when comfort says sleep. Discipline tells you to prepare when procrastination whispers delay. Discipline reminds you that your commitment is greater than your convenience. Without discipline, conviction remains an idea. With discipline, conviction becomes reality. When you stand alone, there is no external pressure forcing you to perform. There is no audience expecting excellence. This is where many people decline. Without accountability, they drift. Without supervision, they relax their standards. But discipline is self-governance. It means you hold yourself to excellence, even when no one else is evaluating you. It means your work ethic does not change based on who is watching. Discipline builds credibility with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence strengthens. Every time you follow through despite resistance, your resilience increases. You become someone you can trust, and that internal trust is powerful. Because when greater responsibility comes, you will not crumble under its weight. You will already be conditioned for consistency. Destiny is heavy, and only disciplined shoulders can carry it. Self-encouragement is power. There will be moments when no voice calls your name, no message affirms your effort, and no one notices your progress. In those moments, you must become your own source of reinforcement. Many people are strong as long as encouragement surrounds them, but they weaken when affirmation disappears. That is emotional dependency. True maturity is the ability to generate strength internally. If you cannot speak life to yourself, you will slowly believe every negative whisper that crosses your mind. Your words shape your internal atmosphere. When you constantly rehearse doubt, you weaken your resolve. When you repeatedly declare defeat, your energy aligns with it. But when you intentionally speak confidence, clarity, and determination, you create momentum within. Self-encouragement is not denial of difficulty. It is the decision to rise above it. It is looking at your obstacles and reminding yourself that you are equipped to overcome them. It is choosing to believe in your capacity even when results are not yet visible. Encouraging yourself requires awareness. You must monitor your inner dialogue. The greatest battles are not external, they are internal. The mind can become a place of sabotage if left unchecked. When you are alone, negative thoughts can grow louder because there are fewer distractions. This is why you must deliberately direct your thinking. Replace "I can't" with "I am learning." Replace "I failed" with "I am refining." Replace "I am alone" with "I am developing strength." The language you use internally determines the level you operate externally. Self-encouragement also requires memory. Remember past victories. Recall moments when you overcame obstacles that once seemed impossible. Your history contains evidence of your resilience. When doubt tries to erase your confidence, revisit your progress. Growth is often gradual, and because it is gradual, it is easy to overlook. But when you take time to acknowledge how far you have come, you strengthen your belief in how far you can go. There is discipline and encouragement. It is not about waiting until you feel positive. It is about choosing to speak strength even when emotions are unstable. You cannot afford to abandon yourself mentally. If the world withdraws its support, you must not withdraw yours. Stand with yourself. Defend your vision internally. Reinforce your identity with truth. The person who masters self-encouragement becomes difficult to break because their stability does not depend on external applause. Solitude builds strength. When you stand alone, you are forced to confront yourself. There are no distractions to hide behind, no one to blame, no one to lean on excessively. Solitude exposes your habits, your fears, your insecurities, and your potential. It can feel uncomfortable because it removes excuses, but in that discomfort lies development. Strength is not formed in constant assistance, it is formed in responsibility. When you operate in solitude, you learn independence of thought. You make decisions without constant consultation. You sharpen your discernment. You refine your judgment. You discover your capacity to endure pressure without collapsing. Solitude stretches you beyond comfort. It requires emotional control. It requires patience. It requires perseverance. And as you navigate it, your endurance increases. Strength built in solitude is different from strength displayed in public. Public strength can sometimes be performance. Solitude strength is authentic. It is tested without witnesses. It is proven without recognition. When you learn to stand firm alone, you become unshakable in groups. You are no longer easily swayed by opinions or intimidated by opposition. You carry quiet confidence because you have survived your own battles in private. Solitude also clarifies priorities. Without constant noise, you evaluate what truly matters. You eliminate distractions that once consumed your energy. You become more intentional with your time and focus. You invest in growth rather than comparison. And as that internal strength solidifies, you realize that standing alone was not a disadvantage, but a training ground that prepared you to carry greater influence without losing stability. When no one is by your side, remember this: your purpose is personal. It was given to you, not to a committee. You don't need consensus when you have conviction. You don't need applause when you have assignment. Isolation is not abandonment. It is preparation. It is where discipline is formed, where character is refined, and where strength is built without performance. Encourage yourself when no one else does. Speak life into your own vision. Guard your thoughts. Strengthen your habits. Stay committed when it would be easier to quit. Because if you can remain faithful in solitude, you will be unstoppable in influence. The crowd may come later. The recognition may come later. The support may come later. But your responsibility is now stand firm, stay focused, keep building,